This is a production of Hollywood Impact Studios, a film school behind bars, and was filmed by our inmate students currently incarcerated inside the Los Angeles County Jail.
Parking units in 11A19, 11A19, domestic violence, 2035 North Empty.
This area right here it's got a little meaning to me because I used to sit here for 8 hours a day in my car, and right there, and then on the driveway right there, and I'd watch the sun come up every morning. It comes over that mountain over there, and I'd move up here to get warm because it was really cold. And the sun come over the mountain, I would move up here and try to catch as much of the sun as possible, as quick as possible. And well, this is the driveway to my work. I mean, who gets to do that? Who has a driveway like this to work? I want to go back into jails and be a Hollywood Impact Studios teacher and tell the inmates. I go, hey, I was one of them. You know, I'm one of you guys. You know, I did it. You can do it, but you have to decide to do it. I just want to deliver a message and help people.
Man, I'll tell you one thing, I actually kind of got butterflies about this whole thing. Just last time I saw this area, I was coming in on the bus, looking out the little slits on the bus because they're all covered up. You have to look out through slits and you're handcuffed to another inmate. And if you stand up and you pull on his arm with the handcuffs, he's gonna get mad at you. Right? Okay, so this is the first time I had to show my ID to get into jail. It's actually beautiful from this point of view.
And it's a nice feeling knowing that we're leaving today.
That we can, go in and do what we're doing and come back out.
Amen.
And here's something else too. You know, with us coming in for this thing that we're doing here, maybe we can inspire some people to not come back, inspire some hope.
Yeah.
Because I was an inmate here just a little bit over a year ago.
How about this one? Did you ever think that you'd be on this road right now and you weren't chained down?
No.
Me neither.
I'll tell you one thing, I would have never thought that I would be coming back in here. Look, that's the yard where I was at.
Yeah.
That's South Yard.
Oh, wow.
I've played basketball on those courts.
Yeah.
There's 46, I was in 45.
That's
wow.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh, is that Mr. Palumbo? Mr. Palumbo. Hey, Mr. Palumbo, what's happening, man? Look at that. Good, man.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
How's everything?
Good.
How are you?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Matthew Feldman.
Nice
Wow.
to see you.
Good to see you
How's
too.
everything?
I can't even begin to tell you how good things are. Yeah.
You know, one of the things too that's really amazing is that, Gary asked me one day, he goes, well, Tony, you've been doing security for a while now, and once we get going, I know you don't want to do security, so what aspect in the industry would you like to do, And I'm just sitting there in awe because when do you ever get asked what you want to do for the rest of your life, and especially in something that you love, like music or the entertainment, filming. Then I thought about it, well, I really want to go into editing, I really enjoyed editing. And then we sat there and stuff, and he goes, you don't want to do sound? I go, is that an option too? Like to be a sound guy? He goes, well, yeah, we're going to build a recording studio. We're going to need a sound engineer. I go, well, that would by far be my first choice. So to me, that was just amazing to have my boss ask me that, and to know that there's a chance it can materialize. I mean, that's big for me. I mean, I'm really excited for that. If anything, that just keeps me going. You know, just being involved in this whole project is just totally intense to me, and it's just like it's beyond a dream come true.
So, over here. Dorm 30. This is the dorm I was in. Yeah, this is the dorm I was in. This is the Merit Master dorm. And this brings back memories right here, the count box. This is where we used to stand every morning at 7 o'clock, right here, waiting for breakfast. We see the Hollywood Impact people drive up. We can see all their cars out there in the parking lot. See Charlie or be Gary Hall come walking in here, and we'd be here waiting for breakfast every morning. Now I can get up and cook my own breakfast and have whatever I want.
Must be nice.
That's nice. Right. Mr. Palumbo, I see Mr. Palumbo coming in sometimes really early, and then we discuss things about the band.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Mr. Palumbo was the head of the band. Yes, I am.
Music is my passion. Yeah, that's my passion. But the sad thing about that is that drug addiction took that away too. You know, before I hadn't played my guitar for 15 years because I was living out in the streets and then just committing crimes to get money for drugs, and so that's where I started getting back into guitar. I volunteered for guitar, and I started playing guitar again in jail. I mean, how crazy is that? In Wayside for maybe a day or two when the call came in looking for guitar players. I raised my hand, and 2 days after that I was transferred to the education, the EBI yard, the education-based incarceration, and then I started going to those classes. And like I said, you know, I had a bad attitude in there. I didn't really want to listen to that stuff, you know, but you know, sitting there, you can't help but to take something in, and I realized that, hey, this stuff is all making sense, and it's stuff that I need to do. It's stuff that I need to apply to my life. So within a couple of days, I was actually sitting in the front row, taking notes.
You know what, one thing that doesn't change? I look at the inmates looking at me, and it's like, I feel like they're checking me out, like, where's he from? Like I'm an inmate, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That doesn't go away. And like they're mad dogging you, you know, like where's he from, who's he at, and they don't know anything about me, and for all they know I could be your brother here just coming on a visit. Yeah, exactly. They don't know my past or my history or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of a trip. How you doing? Good.
This is really something, walking down this yard here as a free man. Incredible.
Not an inmate blues.
Yeah.
Regular clothes.
Yeah, I'm not wearing blues today. Incredible.
Feels pretty different. Huh?
Yes, it does. Just incredible. The phones. We were discussing about phones, how much of an issue that is and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, selling the numbers.
Cell phone.
Now I got my own cell phone. I don't have to put my name on a list to make a phone call. Yeah, there's still some people here that were here when I was here. I've recognized a few faces already. Miss Morehouse. Oh my gosh. How are you, Miss Morehouse? I haven't seen you for so long. You can actually hug now. Wow, I'm good. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
My heart is beating right now.
Because it's like,
you know?
this is just so totally different.
I mean, it has an impact on you. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean,
my heart's racing. You know? It is.
It's cool.
It's racing, yeah.
My name is Matthew, and it's a pleasure to be here today with you guys. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, past, what brought me here today, and what I'm doing since I was released from prison. I'm 57 years old. I lived a pretty good life growing up, not involved with gangs or anything like that. We lived a, pretty nice neighborhood, my family and everything. There wasn't gangs where I grew up. I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley, Arcadia. And at 15, I was introduced to marijuana, and it just perpetuated to harder drugs. In my 20s, I'd go into different periods where I'd be sober and then relapse, sober, relapse. And eventually, I did my first burglary. I didn't even know what I was doing. I did a residential burglary. I got caught, was out 40 days, and did another burglary, took the cops on a high-speed chase. They ran me, they threw me back in CRC, which was like a miracle. Strike 2. This is a 95. The strikes went into effect 94. This shows you how smart I am. I started committing residential burglaries the same year that they initiated the 3 strikes law. I got out on that one in a year, had a little bit of clean time. I relapsed, picked up 3 residential burglaries. Within 2.5 years, I picked up 5 felony residential burglaries. They sent me up to Supermax up here. I fought my case from 97 to 98. And when it came time for sentencing, no violence on my record at all. First time going to jail or prison at 34 years old. When I was 37 years old, the judge sentenced me to 25 to life for the first count, 25 to life for the second count, 25 to life for the third count. He gave me 5 years for the 2 priors, to a total of 85 to life. I was 38 when he sentenced me. I did the math. I would have been 121 years old when I went to the parole board for the first time. But you guys know 5 to life, 7 to life, 10 to life, you're washed up, you're done, that's it. Game over. Your lifer's a lifer. State of California, that's it, you're done. So they sent me to prison. I'm there. Every cellie I had was 187, murder, whatever. I'm going to level 4, maximum security yard, and still a drug addict, still wanting to use. It was at that time that I gave my life to the Lord. But I say that I gave my life to the Lord, but I really didn't. God just saved me. You know, I tell people now, I teach Bible studies, and I tell people, you didn't find Jesus, he found you, you know, and that's what happened with me. He found me, and he saved me, and he removed that addiction from me, you know, and I had tried all of my life to deal with that, and I couldn't, and he just took it from me. And I got with the Christians on the yard, and I started going to Bible studies and praying and prayer group, fasting. My judge and I had become friends after 5 years of being in prison. I wrote him a letter one day, and I told him, look, when you think about all the people that you struck out, that are washed up or whatever, and you think about me giving me the second chance, I want you to know that you did the right thing when you did that for me. I sent him all my paperwork. It's important you guys do these things in here and get the paperwork, you know, because it did pay off for me. I did Scared Straight in there. I did Bible college, seminary, all these kinds of things. I kept all the paperwork, and I mailed it to him. 4 days later, they're telling me, you got legal mail. I go there, and the judge has written me back. He says, if you ever need, he was touched. He said, if you ever need a letter from anybody to anything, any way to get you out earlier, I will help you. I was about being a doer of the word. James 1:22 says to be a doer of the word. I wanted people to see Jesus in me, not because I told them that or because of anything that I said, but how I conducted myself. And that was really important to me, and an important verse to me. Anyways, I got out, and a week after I cleared parole, I was gone 6 weeks. Took my truck, drove all the way across the country, visited all the people that wrote me and everything. And one of the highlights of that trip was early August, late July. I went out to dinner with my judge. He took me out to dinner, met him in North Carolina, had dinner with him. He told me all the things that happened with my case, how he decided to take the life sentences off of me. And as he was telling me, I realized it was a God thing. And I have a good life. I serve the Lord, and I give God credit for everything that I have, every blessing I have. The reason I'm in here today is because of him. And people might have approved the paperwork or whatever, but he's up there pulling strings, trust me. And I hope that you guys, you know, I hope that you have favor in the courts. For those of you who are fighting your cases, for those of you who aren't, don't give up. Keep doing your paperwork. Keep doing the stuff that you're doing. You know, I had 3 life sentences, and here I am today. So that's my story, and I'm gonna have Tony tell you his story.
Hello, my name is Tony, and I grew up in Los Angeles. From all the way up to like about junior high, and so then we moved to Huntington Park. I grew up mostly playing sports, surfing, and playing a little bit of guitar. I went to Utah to start college. Graduated from college in 1980 or so, and I started working as a technician. And then I started pursuing the music part of my guitar playing. Since I was already done with my education and stuff, I started getting more into the music. That started getting a stronger thing in my life, and eventually got into a few bands here and there, a little band, and every band I got in, it got better and better as far as that goes. And eventually, you know, we got to the point where we were drawing people and stuff. People wanted to be around the band and stuff, and then I started accepting some of the drugs and just making the wrong decisions. And I started isolating myself after a while because the smoking rock just kind of does that. It did that to me. It made me kind of antisocial. At first it started off as a social thing, but it became to where I started kind of like pulling back from my friends, and eventually I stopped answering the phone and stuff. People would come looking for me at the front door, and I wouldn't answer the door because I just wanted to keep doing my cocaine smoking and doing it in private. And I really didn't really want to socialize that much anymore. So I did that for a few years, and then eventually that led to a little bit of heroin. Heroin got introduced to me, and so I liked that, and that took it another step further. So then what that did is I stopped drinking, and I just spent my money on cocaine and heroin. Okay, and that just got really bad from there on. You know, it was, you know, it became where I was doing heroin. It was like a roller coaster ride. The heroin would bring me down, and then I'd, you know, get to the point where I need to come up again. So I would take a hit of rock, and to bring me back up. And that's just what the cycle was. And this went on for, you know, first it was just on Friday nights after work because I still had a job. I was working as a technician, had decent jobs. And so this was just like on weekends at first, but eventually it became where I was doing it on Mondays now. I wasn't going to work. And this went on for years. You know, this went on for years. I was somewhat a functional drug addict, still playing in the band and just barely hanging on to that, hanging on to the job. My relationship, I had lost my marriage by this point already. My wife told me, if you don't come home on Saturday morning anymore, I'm not going to be here when you come home. And you know, I didn't really believe it. I didn't take it to heart. So I came home on a Saturday morning, and sure enough, I came home to an empty house. My newborn daughter was gone, and so was my wife. I picked up a first felony for possession of heroin, and that was my first visit to the county jail. Yeah, so from there on, it was just that was like starting a new career. I ended up visiting the county jail about 17 times from the time I started. This was like 2001 to 2015. In and out of the county jail countless times, like I said, about 15, 17 times, with 2 prison terms in there. Every time I would get released from the county jail, I would go straight to Skid Row and get high again, so I never really gave myself a chance. This last time I got incarcerated, I got incarcerated on a parole violation. You know, the judge had given me a break because I had got arrested for sales and trafficking. And I was able to talk the judge into giving me a program because I told her the reason why I'm doing these burglaries is there was commercial burglaries, was to support my habit. You know, if I get rid of the habit, I'm not going to, be doing these crimes anymore. And she said, okay, the court's not really willing to give you a program on drugs and sales, but we're going to give this a shot. But I want you to know that I'm going to be keeping close watch on you. Any little slip, and I'm going to give you your 3-year prison sentence or whatever that carries. She goes, I can actually give you up to 12 years. And I'm going, wow, that's terrible. So I said, okay, and I went to the program with, fully intending to complete the program and to get my life back together, but I didn't really have any structure in my life, or something was lacking. So when the judge sent me back to jail, the word she used, remand, that's just a terrible word for me because that takes me back to that moment, She gets my file and she's looking at it and she goes, wow, Mr. Mendoza, we've given you a lot of opportunities. This is the 3rd program you're in, and I told you I was going to be keeping a close eye on you. She looked at it and she went silent for a while, and then she closed the file and she goes, remand. And I'm, just thinking, wow, man. So I have over a year since I got released from here, from where you guys are here now. I was here. I went through this. I was in a Hollywood Impact class where you guys are. And so basically what I'm saying is that, it's been a good 2.5 years since I use, and, I still get these thoughts, these dreams and stuff. I can't control what I think. The thoughts that come into my head, I can't control what I dream. And so these things come, and I have to deal with them, and, in a positive manner, to where I don't give in to them anymore, I have to make the right decisions, and I don't feed those thoughts anymore, I don't, because I know what happens, you know, when those thoughts come into my head about using. If I dwell on them, I'm just feeding them more and they get stronger. You know, these are things that I learned through the years about this addiction thing. So I learned how to deal with it now. And as soon as those thoughts come into my head now, I just switch it to something else now, you know. And that's one of the ways I'm defeating this addiction thing, because it's a strong thing, you know. Well, one of the moments I remember was sitting in the Twin Towers in a cell, curled up in the fetal position, going through withdrawals. Withdrawals were fully kicked in by that time. It's maybe like a day or two later after I got arrested. So I was fully in withdrawals. I was curled up in that fetal position in that bunk by myself with a little blanket and another blanket curled up, you know, for a pillow. And I was saying, this is just terrible. So I started praying, you know. I started going, I can't do this anymore, you know. This is terrible. I started praying to the Lord and saying, God, please deliver me from this. You know, I can't do this anymore, you know. I'm getting too old for this. And then plus I'm missing my daughter had given birth to my granddaughter like 2 months before I got incarcerated, before that remand word came into my vocabulary. And so I was missing that, and that was a key moment for me, because I feel like, you know, in that desperation, when you're laying there in that fetal position going through withdrawals, you know, that's a bad moment. You know, it's like right there, it's like Matthew says, he's got this term that he uses, a come to Jesus moment, you know, where it's a moment of reckoning, you know. It's like, you know, is this the way it's gonna be? You know, is this the way you're gonna go out, you know? So I followed the direction because I had decided to follow direction from people that knew what was best for me. I wasn't gonna do things that I wanted to do it the way I wanted to do them anymore, because I already know where that got me. So I've been at Eden Ministries over a year now. I got my 1-year chip now, clean and sober, and nothing but good has happened to me because I've done what I was told. I work for Hollywood Impact Studios. I don't know if you guys have heard of Miracle Mountain. Okay, I'm working up there for security, and I'm doing security for Miracle Mountain, and whatever else is asked of me to do, everything's good, you guys. You know, it's like I'm just here to say, you know, just to give a message that if we have somewhere to go from here upon release, not going back to where I came from, going back to the streets and not having a plan, a good solid plan, chances are I'm not going to make it. So I've done everything I was told to do, and I'm sitting here talking to you guys right now, you know, trying to give hope and experience, and just letting you know that it's possible. You know, this isn't where we want to be. Well, you know, where your family is. You guys probably have families out there, wives, daughters, whatever, people that care for you. And this isn't the place that I wanted to be while all this was going on. You know, Ms. Liz, she taught class with tears in her eyes about us being in here while our children were out there, helpless victims. You know, they didn't have a choice in the whole thing. And you know, it can be done. I thought that it couldn't be done, but it can. It's never too late. You know, just ask for help. Ask for help and follow directions. Give up, you know, forget about your homies and all that. Leave all that behind. You know, that's what I did. I didn't even call my family when I first released. I went straight to Eden, and I did my thing there. 4 months, I just did meetings back and forth, what I was told, and things just started happening without me even trying to do them. You know, next thing you know, I have a car that I wasn't even looking for. You know, next thing you know, a job is coming that I didn't looking for, and it can happen, yes. You know? That's my story. You know, I'm here. That's where it comes to. I'm here talking to you guys now, and that's it. Okay.
Do you guys, are you familiar with Miracle Mountain? Have you heard anything about it? Well, we have 70 acres up here in Castaic, up on Lake Hughes Road, 12 miles up above Castaic Lake, and it was a forestry camp there. And there's dorms there. It's big pine trees, big pine cones there. A carpenter shop, a welder shop, industrial chow hall there. How many dorms?
I can house about 400 people.
400 people. We're going to start out with 40, 60 guys to begin with. We have a chapel up there, and we're going to throw some buildings up there and make some Christian movies.
This facility has been closed for 6 years. The county used to run it as a alternative sentencing for drug offenders, the LA County Jail. and they ran it up till like, from what I understand, like 6 years ago. They closed it down, and I don't know the reasons why. But Gary Hall, he's he's the head of Hollywood Impact Studios. He had been looking for a place to, he wanted to open up a place where he can have people come to and run a little program. He was originally looking for a building, and one of our government friends, he works he's our federal person. He came to Gary and told him about this place, and Gary was amazed because he goes, "This is a little bit more than one building." It was a lot more than what he was than what he'd asked for, than what he bargained for, I guess you can say. But as time went on, I guess he thought more and more about it, and he decided he'd tackle it. And I've heard people call it, it's like a monster project because there's so much to do, but it's got so much potential, and we're going to use it for the breakdown is 30% rehabilitation, 30% vocational training, and 40% television studio. We're actually going to do some filming up here and stuff to try to support ourselves with some income that way.
All right, well, you guys have heard Tony's story, my story, and obviously, we can't tell you everything or anything, and so maybe you guys have some questions right now that you'd like to ask us. And for me personally, anything's open, whatever you want to ask me is fine, I'll answer it best I can. Same with Tony. Any of you guys got any questions?
Your testimonies are real inspirational, and it gives someone like me hope.
Good.
So I want to thank you for that. My question is, how difficult was it to rebuild the trust issues that you destroyed in your addiction? Because that's one of my fears, is going home and my family just saying, you know what, we've heard it all before, he's gonna do it again, why even try to build this relationship, and it scares me to death. But I see how you guys are doing now, and you guys are alive and healthy and doing well, so I want to know, how's the family life? And
That's a great question, man, because that right there can almost take me out, getting that rejection out there, and getting acceptance and building that trust again. There's nothing you can say to get it back, at least not with me. There was nothing I could say to get it back anymore. I just had to live the proper life and walk the walk, and just show them. You have to show them, and some come back sooner than others. Some will start trusting you sooner than others, and I'm still working on some. Some of them come back very slowly, but they eventually want to trust you, but they're afraid to, because they're protecting themselves too from being hurt again. Because I know I hurt a lot of people, my daughter and stuff, and for me, some of the more important ones take time. Okay. Like I said, I'm still working on them. So but it's a work in progress, and some may not come back. So you have to be ready for that, and that's really important right there, and be ready to deal with that, to where you don't get taken out by that, to where you don't, where it doesn't injure you to the point where you want to go use again.
Here's one for you, Josh. Don't make promises. You know what I'm saying? You've broken all your promises in the past, so just quit making promises. Just, this is who I am, this is where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've broke your heart a million times. This is the plan that I've got. This is what I've done. Just don't make, I used to tell people inside, if you don't make promises, then you don't break promises. We
were just talking about that today.
Yeah.
We were talking about that.
You just don't make promises, and just tell them, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm at,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
okay.
That actually happened to me with my daughter. Like you said, she, I told her one time upon one of my releases, I told her that I was going to do good, and she came back and told me, she goes, "Dad, I've heard you say that before," and you know what? You know how much that hurt?
It does hurt.
That hurt really bad. It still hurts right now. Even just, me just saying that, to hear her say that, because it lets me know how she felt. That she distanced herself from me just to protect herself too. And so now I don't even say nothing anymore. I say, I'm not going to say anything. Like man said, don't make no promises. I don't make any promises. I just do good. And when they see me now, they're going, maybe something is changing.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
So that's the plan for this thing, for this project. There is try to help people get their lives back together. coming out of jail, and give them a place to go, because for me that was crucial in my recovery, was having somewhere to go right from jail and not go back to the same place. I didn't contact any of my friends, my old acquaintances when I was in drug addiction. I didn't talk to them at all. I started getting in classes, and Hollywood Impact Studios came back in. I met Gary and the gang. It was Gary, Brandon Morris, Charlie Roseland, and Cindy Hall, Stan Casio. They each taught a class every day, and they taught a different thing every day. Cindy Hall was a memorable thing, because her thing that she started with was worldviews. You know, the different religions that are out there, and where do you fit in the world? What's your outlook on the world? You know, what's your outline? What are your guidelines? And all that just made so much sense to me. You know, on how to live properly. You know, I started thinking about it, and she gave us homework and stuff. I put a lot of time into it. The other guys would be saying, "Hey, you know what? Why are you putting so much time into this? It's just a little jail class." And I remember thinking, you know, I didn't really respond, but I remember thinking, well, it might just be a jail class to you, but to me, it's a life or death situation.
And my question to you is, how, what's the, other than your faith, like, what else could you offer as inspiration?
You know what I did to start getting my mindset while I was still in here? Because, you know, like when laundry exchange and you're walking through that lunch thing and all that, and you see all these guys that are standing in the count box while the cops are in there searching everything, and they're sweating it, hope they don't find my boxers in there, and, you know, the extra boxers, I hope they don't find all those apples I have stashed in there, you know, all this and that, whatever. You know, as I said, you know what, that's crazy, you know, so I started just abiding by every little rule that was here. You know, I stopped thinking about extra lunches, and it's not about the lunch, it's about a mindset.
Yeah.
It's about a mindset, changing your mind, how it works, because if you can do that here, and that's something you can do right away, right now. You know, you can start doing that right now. You know what, 2 boxers they allow you for. So then when you're in that count box and the cops are in there, you're telling jokes about everything because you're not sweating nothing.
Yep.
Okay, now that carries over to the outside life too, because you know your car's all registered.
Yep.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yes.
He gets on me about, hey, you gotta get your car registered, man. You get insurance, you know, and you know. You know, he's a good guy, you know, but the thing is that if you have everything in order, you have to worry about it, okay? So you can start doing that right here by just abiding by all the rules here, and you get used to that, and pretty soon you're not even thinking about it, and you're comfortably in that count box while the cops are in there, sorting it out, you know, your shirt's tucked in, and, they're not coming at you sideways, because that always puts you in a bad mood when the cops tell you stuff, right? Don't give them no reason.
And all that
Don't give
stuff,
them any reason.
it takes up my space in your mind.
Yeah.
You know, was my story straight? I used to, if they had Liars Anonymous when I was using, I would have been the chief founder of it, write the big book for them and the 12 steps, because I lied about everything to cover up for everything I was doing. And people would ask me a question before I could answer. I'd have to go through my mind, okay, now I've said this, I've said that, and all of that. And he hit it right on the head. Don't let that take up space. If you're, you know, like in prison, I always wanted everything in my name. When they got you in your boxer shorts and everything, I know I'm going back to that baseball game on my television because it's on my books, you know. And it's the same thing out here, you know. Just do everything the way you're supposed to do it. You know, register your car, get insurance, do all of that. So you get pulled over. Oh, I ran a red light. Big deal. You know, you might get a ticket, but you know, you're above and doing what you're supposed to be doing. And that is, he's right. You got to start that in here.
Start it in here. And that's
Definitely.
big. That goes further than anything right now. It's to start getting your mindset, your proper mindset right now, and do everything that you're told to do here. You know, because that's going to carry over to once you get released, and then it's going to be automatic.
Yep.
You know, you're going to start doing those things automatic. Just keep that mindset and be aware of what you're thinking. You know, think about what you're thinking about. Like, am I thinking about, you know, hey, I want that extra lunch, man. You know, this, that. No, man.
Is it worth
Just
it?
be happy with with what you have, and fill your mind, like you said, with good things. And you get out, it's an easier transition. Because believe me, I mean, you know, there's a lot of things to transition to out there. Once you get out, man, there's a lot of things to do, okay? And you don't need to be worried about these little things, man. There's bigger things to do so you can be where you want to be. It's not that hard, okay?
Do you remember when you were interviewing and one of the guys, you guys kind of started grilling him?
Yeah.
Well, how did that go down? What was going on there?
Yeah, we asked him, the question was, if I recall, was what your plan was upon release, and what are you doing now to make that happen? And the guy gave back really vague answers, and my partner that was there, that was doing the interviewing there, Matthew Filmet, he really jumped down his throat, you know, because we didn't see any kind of definite plans there. They were just vague.
All right, Richard, I see you kind of moving around in your chair over there, all right? Tell me, you're gonna get out tomorrow, okay? Tell me right now what it is that you're gonna do different. What's your game plan? I wanna hear it. And you gotta do it in 2 minutes, fast.
One of the things I know I do different is every time I've been released from prison, from county jail, I've went straight back home and I've thought that I could do this on my own again.
Right.
Before getting taken into custody this time, I had several months clean up in Lancaster at a sober living, and going to NA and the 12 steps did help me. Never did I believe that it would help me. All the years I've done in jail and prison, I've went to NA and programs, but I didn't believe it was for me until I actually worked it on the street. And this time I got taken into custody, I came in clean. So it was kind of a change for me. But if I got released tomorrow, that's one thing I would do different. I would definitely go back to my sober living or straight to a program.
Are you working the steps right now?
I mean, I can't say that I am because it's
Okay,
just different.
that's a lousy answer. Okay, okay. Tell me what the first step is.
We admitted we were powerless over our addiction, lives became unmanageable.
That's right. Okay, so you on board with that?
Absolutely.
You are?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what are you doing about that?
Well, every day, when I get up, I pray and I remind myself that I can't do it by myself.
Okay, that's still a lousy answer. I mean, it's good. You're getting better, but you know what? That's weak. Come on.
I work on being honest every day.
Okay.
Honesty is the first step.
That's good, but what are you doing to be proactive with that? You were proactive when you wanted to go cop, you knew where the connection was at, and if he wasn't there, you called somebody else. Come on. Okay, so what else you got going?
To be quite honest, I'm doing a lot of programs in here.
Okay.
I go to meetings. I just started a program yesterday, Finding the Way.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to stay busy.
Okay.
I'm trying to definitely stay out of my head and stay
All right.
off the streets, so to speak.
Okay, now Albert mentioned that he started with the Daily Bread. I'm a big fan of the Daily Bread. Lord speaks to me through the Daily Bread all the time. Now, you do the Daily Bread?
Every morning I
Good.
do my daily bread.
Good.
I read another Days of Praise.
Yeah.
And then
Good.
I read a proverb
Yeah.
for the date that it is. And then right now I'm currently reading the book of Mark.
Good.
And I read a couple chapters every morning. So every morning when I get up, I have a cup of coffee and I just do
Good.
like you said you do. I give Jesus his time.
You got kids out there?
No, I don't.
No? Wife?
No, I just have
Parents?
my mom and dad.
All right, you praying for them?
Absolutely.
Good. You call them on the phone and say, hey, how can I pray for you? What are your needs right now?
I talked to my dad, and to be quite honest, my mom's a little pissed that I'm back in jail.
Okay.
So I haven't spoken to her in a good 8 months.
Okay, so there's something to pray for.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
right. And God will restore those relationships, in his timing, not yours. So
Things started getting better, and these deputies started being my friends and stuff, and going back to see them, I'm actually in contact with a couple of them, and we're friends now, which is something that's totally unheard of. I've never, I would have never been friends with deputies or jail people, jail guards or anything like that. But it was really good to see him. We actually got to hug, we hugged each other. We were happy to see each other because they seen something in me before my release. They say, this guy's reaching out. We hope he makes it. And they got to see me. They hear about me, and I call them. I can call them on the phone. I keep in touch with them, and they're happy for me. I could really see it in their face, and I could hear it in their voice that they're happy that their labor has, it hasn't been for nothing. I can imagine that, how it would feel to see one of your people, doing good, because they say that the statistic for recovery is 1 out of 35 people. 1 out of 35 people is a terrible. That's three people out of 100 people are going to recover. That's a terrible statistic. So Hollywood Impact is trying to change that. We're trying to give people a better chance to get their life back together, and supplying what an inmate needs upon his release, because it's really important to me. It was really important to have somewhere to go right from my release. The first 20 minutes upon your release, they say, is really critical on how your life's going to turn out. And so that's why I made that phone call at 3:30 in the morning. I called Charlie. I said, hey, I'm released. I need somebody to come pick me up. And he was there by 5 o'clock. He was there.
Okay, at this time we're going to close up with a song. It's called Never Let Go. We sing this at our alumni meeting. We have a Bible study on Tuesday nights at Grace Baptist Church for the alumni guys have gotten out, and other people come too from the outside to the Bible study. And Tony's our praise and worship leader, and this is a very cool song, and you guys are going to like it. It's real catchy. And then after that we'll close in prayer. And I just want to thank you guys for your honesty today. It was a pleasure to spend time with you.
Yeah, likewise. In the song, you know, it's kind of like feel it, just kind of listen to the words, and it's a great song. Okay, so you know, it talks about our Lord, how He just always keeps a hold of us, and it's us that go away from Him. Especially in this situation right here, you know that God's always there, and He never lets go of us. Okay, and as long as you turn to Him, He'll be there, carry you through everything. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadows of death, your perfect love is casting out fear. And even when I'm caught in the middle of the storms of this life, well, I won't turn back, I know you are near. For I will fear no evil, for my God is with me. And if my God is with me, well, whom then shall I fear? Whom then shall I fear? Singing, oh no, you never let go. Through the calm and through the storm, oh no, you never let go. In every high and every low, oh no, you never let go. Lord, don't you never let go of me. Lord, don't you never let go of me. Say it like you mean it. Lord, don't you never let go of me. One more time. Lord, don't you never let go of me.
Heads bowed, eyes closed. Dear Father in heaven, I thank you that we could be here today, God, and come together and spend some time with our brothers in Hollywood Impact Inside. Father, I thank you for the lockdown that we had today, that it only lasted 20 minutes, and once again, you were demonstrating that you are in control, that you control all these things, and that you allowed that to be for 20 minutes just to show us that you got us, Father, and that this was going to go through today in your perfect timing, in your perfect way, in your perfect will. We honor you, we love you, we worship your Son, Jesus Christ, who died on the cross to save us from our sins and to deliver us from the foul drugs and the alcohol and other kinds of things that we were involved in, Father. And you showed us a different way of life that we can have, Father, and I just thank you for that. I pray for these men today that they grab hold on these things. I pray that when they're done with these programs, they can get into Toomey and all the other ones, and that you get favor on our brothers right here, God. I thank you for their honesty and for coming out today. I thank you for every one of these guys that held the lights, the cameras, the sound, all of that, and for all of the people that came from the outside as well, Father, and for this wonderful ministry that I know that you're backing, Hollywood Impact, Eden Ministries, and I thank you for that. And I just pray for every one of these guys that their time goes by fast for them. Those that are in the court system, God, that you'd give them favor in the court system so they could get out and serve you and be fathers, husbands, brothers, uncles when they return to society. In the name of your precious Son, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
All right, you guys.